Today. We got a packed house today. This is crazy. But I take it y'all are here to learn a little bit about LinkedIn. This is our fourth launch of the semester. We have 10 total. And I kind of think of this as a two-part launch. So today you're going to be learning about the basics of LinkedIn. But at the end of the semester, on November 13th and 14th, in this same room, we're going to be talking about how to network or professionally flirt on LinkedIn. So I definitely encourage you to come out to that. So I'm Brian. I am a senior, double majoring in chemical and biomedical engineering, and this is my third semester as a CA.
Hey everyone, my name is Adam Pecoraro. I am a sophomore. This is actually my first semester as a CA. This is actually my first launch overall, so it's nice to see you all here. I'm majoring in molecular, cellular, and developmental biology with a minor in microbiology.
I'm Michaela Miller. I'm a sophomore, double majoring in business administration and international studies, and this is my second semester as a career ambassador.
All right, so before we begin, I guess a few tips I'd just like to get out of the way. At the Career Development Center, we've created an example LinkedIn profile called Winston Wolfe. It's very cheesy, but it's very useful to kind of base your profile off of. If you just want to type in Winston Wolfe on LinkedIn, if you haven't created an account yet, we'll kind of talk through how to do that. But so that's just our example profile that we have, and it's very useful to kind of just figure out, all right, what's appropriate, what's professional, and what's not. Another thing, I guess we'll just cover it later. Oh, are we still having headshots, Alex?
Yeah.
Okay. So after this presentation, you actually, if you feel like if you're wearing like a collared shirt like this gentleman over here, you look pretty dapper. We have a professional headshot after this presentation, so you can add that to your profile. So that's a good I guess perk of this launch. So with that, I did want to say that we're trying to make this more engaging. We realize y'all have been through a lot of lectures today. It's a Monday, and midterms are approaching. So we don't want this to be a lecture. We want this to be a lot more interactive and engaging. So on that note, I think we're going to start off with an activity. Go and grab that. So does anyone know what these things are? Anyone want to take a guess? That's what we're going to be doing. This is a ball of yarn, so we're going to teach y'all how to knit. It's a very useful life skill. No, we're going to do an activity called the ball of yarn activity, and since there's so many of you, I think it'd be best if we just split you right down the middle. So what I want you to do is I want you to get up, and these 5 tables, and then those 4 tables, did I math right?
Yeah.
Okay. If you just want to get up, maybe we'll split that table down too. So just stand up. We want you to make like a circle around your side of the room.
It's like half the all.
Yeah.
Best circle you possibly can.
Probably going to be a little awkward.
So I guess if you right in the middle, this dapper gentleman right here, if you want to move this way and kind of guide everyone on that side this way, and same with you, go this way. Perfect. So the whole purpose.
Close up. Yeah, close it up.
So what we want to do here is we're going to give you a little bit of a demo in a bit, but I want you to say like a hobby or an interest you might have, a future aspiration in your career, any past experience that you might have. Like the first person who has this will say that, and then I want someone else in that group, this large circle that you're in, to say something similar like, for example, Adam, I've had 2 research positions here at State.
Oh my gosh, Brian, I've done research as well.
Oh,
So
cool.
he's going to toss it over to me, and then once I have the yarn, I'm going to say my own, aspiration or experience with it. So I'll say that I volunteered with Habitat for Humanity once.
And then I volunteered for Habitat of Humanity before, so
So I'll wrap it around my finger so I can hang on to the yarn and just toss it to Michaela.
And,
She will catch it.
yeah, I hope
not
you guys
everyone's
did.
like a good athlete. Like I'm not a great athlete, so it doesn't matter if you drop it. Just I do want everyone to just have an opportunity to catch it once or have it thrown to them. All right. So we have 2 balls of yarn, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll go this way, go that way.
Alright, so this one will be over here.
Can you?
Okay, who wants to start off? Anybody? Any takers?
Anyone want to lead off?
Who's ball guard?
I think the oh, no,
Okay.
that's good. I
Cool.
was going to call the man in the
I'm Brian.
again.
Majored in agriculture science with a minor in soil science and crop science.
Anyone can relate to that? I'm Jesse.
Does anyone study abroad?
There we go.
I consume crops.
Alright, does anyone else consume crops?
Legal internships? Okay, internships in
I
general.
come from a family that grows crops and majored in ag business
Okay.
management.
I majored in ag business.
So you're gonna want to wrap the string around your finger first, and then toss it. Yeah.
I'm interested in going
You are too?
some sort of basketball program.
I had an internship this summer in event operations.
Event operations.
Anyone do anything interesting this summer?
Yeah, just literally anything. It could be career oriented, it could be
I'll put it. I had an
color
interesting summer.
My favorite
It's very cheap bowling on. So, I am a member of
I'm a junior.
a club here at State.
I'm a member of a civil engineering group here.
I am learning how to build RC planes.
What?
RC planes.
I'm not only a member of the club, I'm also a professor of the eco.
I've also built an OC plane with winch. It did not fly well, but I still built one. Alright, at some point in my undergraduate career, I'd like to study abroad.
As a barista at a coffee shop.
My first job was as a
Majoring in sports management.
Yeah.
I just thought that. I'm a college student.
Who's going to the football game on Thursday? Alright, so I can first. Going for it.
Down with your Finley.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm working for the Krispy Kreme family.
It'd be like donuts.
You're running it hot.
Favorite sport is basketball.
I'm interested in
International studies.
I think I might have to scrap all the young guys go around.
Alright, so I'm interested in working with like sports and like introducing that to
I like done a club where we go after graduate elementary school. My favorite sport is football. Dream job is working for a professional.
Do I just say
Professional
anything?
football team.
Excuse me?
Do I just say anything?
Yeah, like whatever you want.
I work as a lifeguard during the summer.
I swim during the
Cool.
It doesn't have to be the exact same thing, because obviously we're very diverse people.
I missed the
It's
seven.
something similar.
I'm a freshman.
I play baseball.
I used to be on the state baseball team.
So I'm James. I currently work on a golf course, and I'm hoping to do an internship this summer, maybe through a national park. Anybody like a director? I'm majoring in sport management.
In my free time, I'm doing courses for my PGA America PGM program this summer. I'm on the 6-year plan.
I speak Nick. An industrial engineer.
On the 6-year plan. In my freshman year, I was in engineering. There you go.
I'm majoring in biomedical engineering. I'm biomedical. That's probably won't go far.
Okay.
I ruined the laptop the other day,
I'm going to go to Washington for alternative service break. This like fall break. Anyone go to alternative service break or something? For the break, staying home. I'm going to travel. Something fall break. Studying.
Anyone doing something fun for fall break? Going anywhere?
Hopefully we're going to study. Okay. Okay, let's see.
I'm excited for fall break.
Oh, thank you.
My favorite soccer team is Liverpool.
Stay on that side.
They end on a powerful stage.
I would like to, my goal is to find.
I went on a service trip in high school.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Alright. Everyone, just drop it either way it is. we'll clean it up later. I mean, obviously, the week through it. So, like, just throw it off your chair and all that. But we'll wait till the
Yeah, sorry. I guess it'll be the last one.
Do what?
So. You're the last one.
I want to work for a professional sports team.
All right, everyone. You can just bring your yarn over there. Thank you.
There you go.
let's see. Throw it on the ground.
All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that little icebreaker. So as you can see, after over time, once you started sharing similarities with each other, a tangible web was created. And the reason why we chose that as an icebreaker is because we wanted to show you, what LinkedIn is. It is a networking platform, and so we just kind of wanted to give you a visual of that. But so after by the end of today, I hope that you guys can take away a few key pointers as far as LinkedIn goes, such as the following: what LinkedIn is and why it is important to you as upcoming professionals. In this day and age, social media and technology is really evolving. So LinkedIn is a very useful platform and a useful resource that you guys definitely should learn how to use. How to build your LinkedIn profile and make it as professional and as useful as possible. And also the rights and wrongs of LinkedIn. There are many things that you can put on your profile. There are many aspects to your LinkedIn profile, but there are also rights and wrongs that you got to keep in mind whenever you're presenting yourself to possible employers. So networking, what is networking? So networking is basically just interacting with people, talking to others, sharing contact information, and really just trying to be as professional as possible with other people. It's not so much about the setting that networking occurs in, it's how you do it. 80% of jobs that are attained are from networking. So, a resource like LinkedIn is very, very useful, based on that stat. I guess as an example of how networking can benefit you. Over the summer last year, I went to a cystic fibrosis fundraiser, and I happened to talk to a kind gentleman. Didn't know who he was, didn't know what job he did, but we just connected. We had a mutual friend, so So yeah, we talked, and I actually had a job interview 2 weeks later, and he actually ended up being the guy that interviewed me. He was the hiring manager for the company that I wanted to get a job at. But since I really put myself out there and networked at that cystic fibrosis fundraiser, I kind of already had like a pre-interview. So that's just kind of an example of what putting yourself out there can do, and the opportunities that can be created from networking. So as far as what LinkedIn is, it is a business-oriented networking platform. So what does that mean? It's basically just a professional Facebook. They're going to share certain elements, but as far as LinkedIn goes, it's going to be much more professional than your typical Facebook profile. There are over 460 million active users on LinkedIn, 100 million of which update their profiles monthly. So that's why it's very important to keep your profile updated and consistently connect with people. Of those 460 million LinkedIn users, 70% of those are based outside of the country. So, aside from being a great domestic resource for networking, it's also great at putting yourself out there internationally.
So LinkedIn's really great in the fact that when you first log in and create your profile, it'll actually help you build it. It'll pop up suggestions like, oh, don't forget to fill out your summary, don't forget to add a picture. But at the same time, a lot of people don't know how to do this effectively, and then you lead to a result like this next one. Like that. This is my freshman year one, and it's not great. There's no summary. I look very young. God, I missed that. I look a lot skinnier. The background is just a brick wall. I'm wearing like a typical jacket that you might see during the wintertime. And my title is undergraduate student. It's not very creative, not very engaging. If I were to try to connect with someone right here, they would look at it and they wouldn't see anything in common with me, and they'd be a little questioning, and I'd probably get declined. But as I started doing my research, I came up with a little bit more of an evolved profile. I put it into work. Got a few more followers, 40 connections. I added a little bit of a description on myself. I tried to look a little bit more professional with like a jacket that I got for the career development program, and I added a title of a relevant position I had. And then, with the tips that I got through the Career Development Center, I've come up with this final profile that I'm continuously updating. But it's a much more engaging headline. You can see that my summary is very detailed, and if a recruiter wanted to learn more about me, they could just hit see more. I added a background photo because I'm really passionate about the environment, and I like hiking in the mountains. That's partly why I came to North Carolina in the first place. I've also added my current company that I work part-time for, which is GSK. This is a much more engaging profile. You can see that I've added a lot more followers than I had previously, or connections than I had previously. I'm saying followers, I got that professional Facebook mindset. But as you can see, this is definitely a lot better. It still needs a lot of improvement, don't get me wrong, but this is definitely much more of grasping a recruiter's attention.
So this is a quick look at what social medias recruiters use. We all know recruiters go on Google and try to find out as much about you. And so it's just to say 87% of recruiters do look at your LinkedIn. So you want to keep it up to date, you want to keep it professional. But then it's also to say that 55% look at your Facebook and 47% look at your Twitter. So you might want to clean up your Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all the others if you do not think that it's something you want to see, or to at least make them private so that a recruiter can see anything you did want to share with them ahead of time. So what can LinkedIn do? So first things it can do is it can strengthen your connections, right? So you guys are sitting here in a room with about 70 other people. These are all great connections, right? And then you have classmates, and then you have professors, and then you have family members. To strengthen those connections and to create a professional connection with them is a really good idea to do. Another thing is you can extend your connections. You've gone to those career fairs, handed out your resume and cover letter, and now you have that interview and you want to connect with that recruiter. Now you're extending what you're able to do, what you're able to do professionally through your LinkedIn network, right? And then you're going to build your professional identity. This is your brand. This is your McDonald's giant N, right? This is what they're going to see. So you're going to want to make sure it's professional, but it's you. And then you're going to want to discover professional opportunities. So as you tag companies that you're following, people that you want to connect with, companies you've worked for, all of that's going to pop up new suggestions from LinkedIn, who you may want to follow as well, who you may want to connect with. And that's where you're going to start finding more things to do, and it's going to make LinkedIn, first of all, a lot more fun to deal with, and second of all, a lot more effective to work with. And so, quickly, what needs to be on your LinkedIn? So your headshot, your headline, you're going to have a professional summary under that, and then you're going to have your experience in education and skills section as well.
Does anyone have any questions so far? Just about what LinkedIn is, why it's a useful resource? I know there probably are a lot of freshmen, sophomores in here, and I know when I was starting out, I kind of questioned why would LinkedIn be useful to me. But even as a freshman and sophomore, you really should start building your network now, even if it's just with your classmates, the people that you worked with on projects with, because your classmates now are going to be your colleagues in the future. And it's just always helpful to have that connection now so you can call back to this time.
Alright, so like Michaela said, the very first element of your LinkedIn is going to be your headshot. Now your headshot is very important because it's the first thing people are going to see when they click on your profile. Employers or whoever is looking at your LinkedIn profile, they're going to immediately make assumptions about you as a professional based on your headshot. So that is why you have to take a couple things into account. Your headshot should be a clear picture of yourself. I guess as far as range goes, I guess from your waist to above your head. So like I said, it has to be clear. You should be looking at the camera. Smiling, you don't really need to smile if you don't want to, but I mean, it really only adds like a very outgoing, open persona to the picture. So I would recommend that. Make sure it's not a group photo. That does not look professional at all. And also, if it is a group photo, don't like crop just yourself out of the photo. Just have some, like a friend, family member, coworker, take the picture for you. Also, don't make it a selfie either. So leave the selfie sticks at home. Just like I said, have somebody take it for you. Which brings us into our next activity. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be giving you guys some example headshots here on the slides, and what you guys are going to be doing is telling us, what's good and what's bad about them. What might you think is unprofessional, or what you think they did well in the headshot photo. Does that sound good? All right, cool. And also, if here's some incentive to raise your hand, but we got some prizes up here. So if you give a good point, we're gonna give you a little something, all right?
Sports management people, we got football.
Yeah, we got football. Good, the bad, and the ugly. All right, here we go. First one. What do you guys think? Good. It is good. Can you tell me why?
Because it's a professional headshot.
Yeah, that is professional.
What about it looks like good? What makes it stand out as professional?
She's dressed in like business attire.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe.
We got a hand raised in the back.
It looks like it's not like the classic business attire. Like she looks like she's wearing like a V-neck, so it looks like it shows like some of her fashion sense and like personality.
Yeah, she incorporated a little bit of herself in her outfit. Yeah.
It's a clear background, so you're not focusing on anything else except like who's in the picture.
Exactly, that's a good point.
That's really important, yeah. Any other?
It's not like overly professional. It's like sort of business casual way.
Yeah. And even if it was over the top, I mean, that really wouldn't be a problem either, but that's definitely a good point. Anybody else? Yeah, but that pretty much covered everything. The background was a very good point. She also has like pretty linear posture, so that's good. You don't want to be slouched over. But yeah, you guys pretty much had all the good points on that one. What about this one?
What strikes you as good about this photo? Yeah. Professional dress, that's important.
If you had to criticize anything about this, what would you say? What would you change? Yeah.
The background
Yes, that is very important. Can you tell me why?
is dark, like and he wore a dark suit, so it's like.
Yeah, there's no contrast there. It doesn't he doesn't really pop out. He kind of gets lost in it. So that's a very good point.
The picture is sort of like, so it's not great.
Yes. Yeah, it's a little grainy. You definitely want to be as clear as possible, and that's why you should definitely get your headshot taken afterwards with the photographer, because that's going to be a good looking picture. But yeah, pretty much the background and the graininess of the photo are the only bad elements of this. But I mean, as far as dress goes, he's well dressed and it's a pretty good LinkedIn profile headshot besides from the background. What about this one?
I like it.
You like it? Yeah. So for obvious reasons, this is not good. Something I also want to point out is accessories in a LinkedIn profile headshot. You don't really need them. So even if he was wearing like a regular baseball cap, you know, should probably just leave that out. But I mean, yeah, you definitely shouldn't do that. His tie is not fastened up all the way, so you should correct that. His shoulders look a little forward, so he should probably get better posture. He's also not looking at the camera either. He's looking off to the left or something. So that's kind of awkward looking. But
to his credit, he's got a good background, right?
Yeah,
it's good lighting, right?
Yeah. But yeah, don't do this for your headshot. I would highly advise against that. All right, what about this one? Yeah. Yeah, that's. Yes, it's pretty glare. I would agree.
Yeah, so the group picture, the lighting, blurry, like you said. Anything else? No?
Yeah, the head tilt's a little weird. This definitely looks like a Facebook profile. It's kind of what it strikes me. So it's definitely what you don't want to do on your LinkedIn profile. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
The thing that really struck me is the eyes too, like that you know, that red eye glare that you get from those old photographs. That's not necessarily something on your LinkedIn profile. It kind of makes you look a little evil and or a little glazed over.
All right, what about this one?
What are your thoughts? Yeah.
I feel like if she's like a model or something, if she has like a modeling career, then that would be.
That's very true, yeah. So like, you know, there's really not like a set formula for a headshot. It definitely depends on what you want to do. Now obviously if you're like a business major, or if you're doing engineering or something, you probably want to keep it as formal as possible, because that'd just be in your best interest. But I mean, if you're doing something more eccentric, such as modeling, like you said, or you know, maybe if you're an artist and you know you had a piece of art that you wanted to do, which you were in or something, you know, those would be acceptable profile pictures for, you know, those LinkedIn's. But I mean, it's for the purposes of like the, you know, business and engineering, you should probably keep it a little more professional than this. But I mean, this is a pretty good headshot for a model, I'd say. But
And generally, what we recommend too is, you know, as students, we're just starting out. Like when you're Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs, and you're, you know, that rich and that, you know, renowned. We got a couple years till we get there. They can do whatever they want, but generally, what we recommend is, since we're just starting off, make it more professional. It doesn't have to be like, you know, suit and tie all the time. It can be more business casual, more like whatever you're comfortable with. But the more professional, more formal it looks, generally, the better it looks.
Well, this one. What's the first thing that like pops out of you when you see this? Yeah, the wine. It's not professional at all. Unless you are looking to get into the wine industry or something, or you own a vineyard, that's not a good LinkedIn profile picture. The background, it also kind of takes away from him. You can see like wine bottles up there. So like I said, unless you're trying to, you know, do something like that, then you should probably keep it more neutral than that.
You can't even see the top of his head. Like his forehead just keeps going.
Yeah, definitely like raise the perimeter of that photo. So yeah.
So what comes under your headshot would be your headline. And there are a few different types here. So the first type is the expert status headline, which would be the key matter of expert area, plus what you do. And the expert status headline, who does what for what clientele, would be sort of like Sue Powell here. So she's a data wrangler. She helps people run their businesses more efficiently. So she helps businesses, she's a data wrangler, and you can kind of figure out some of those points from there. And then you have the claim your niche, and this is where you're going to use some sort of adjectives that you think best describe you, and then your focus area, and that be best described by Marcy's bullet here. So empowering students to reach their potential, and then she's in higher education, and she's a keynote speaker and a purpose seeker. The third is direct to customer headline, and that's going to be your attention grabbing question, and then that's going to be who you are plus who you help, and that's best That's best shown by Anna Hoffman in the corner over there. And so she helps discover how to get big website traffic for small marketing budgets in Generation Cafe. So something to take away from this is it doesn't have to exactly fit what you see in the format that we have in the career development guide. But, to kind of base it off of there. And the last type is the creative headline, and that's what you're probably going to do the most. And that's by Russell Foss is a really good example. Impermanent beta, learning, improving, and evolving. And maybe even Holly, building social media strategy from the ground up. This is where you're going to kind of just go on your own and figure out what you want people to know about you. This is your brand tagline. And so you want to be specific, but you also want to have your personality out there. Like, I want to know who you are and what it is you do.
Are there any questions so far? What questions do you have so far about the headshot, about the headline? The headline can be kind of confusing. Anything?
We need a comment, anything?
Yeah.
So the headline is basically something catchy and creative that kind of like embodies what you're about professionally.
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah. One of the more creative ones, like you can pretty much do anything you want with the headline, just to really grabs the recruiter in, kind of gives them a little bit of an idea of who you are. One of the more creative ones I saw was this guy had said, I've helped 7 companies reach 1 billion. Who wants to be number 8? Like that just popped out to me, and yeah, I want my company to reach 1 billion. Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna go talk to this guy. He seems like he knows what he's doing. It really draws a recruiter in, and they'll look at your profile, they'll read your summary, and they'll get to know what you're talking about know a little bit what you've done. They'll look at your experiences. So it really just draws them into your profile, which is I think is what the useful part of the headline is.
Other questions?
And on that note, let's talk about the summary. So, who here has been to our resume launch? Anyone? Yeah. Yeah. So, do you remember we were talking about the differences between the summary and the objective? How the summary is kind of like where you advertise your skills. Give a little bit about your personality in 2-3 lines. Well, the great thing about LinkedIn is you have 2,000 characters to do this. So you could really go into a lot more depth with your LinkedIn, give a little bit more of your personality, highlight a little more of your skills, touch upon your experiences. If you're looking for a specific industry, a job, or an internship, you can mention that in there. This is pretty much just advertising your brand in more depth to the recruiter. So on your laptops, typically the amounts of characters that are shown are about 225, I believe it is. And so you really want to highlight those two lines. You want to draw on the recruiter so that they click that See More button to read the rest of your summary. You want to make sure that you have very concise sentences, paragraphs. But I like to think of it. You've got to be a little authentic too. Advertise your personality. What do you want your professional brand to be? So that's what I like most about the summary. Is it you have that little creativity.